In this video, we're going to be learning how to complete the feathering assignment, right? So we're going to go into our instructional materials, week number 5 and day number 10, right? So here is the feathering assignment. I'm going to go ahead and click, and in here we have instructions, right? We have instructions in here. We're going to open in Photopea these two pictures, the rose picture and our worksheet, right? And if you keep scrolling down, you should be able to see what it should look like at the end, okay? So we're going to go ahead and go all the way to the top and click on the Photopea link. I'm going to click on it, and it should open up the Photopea link, right? So here it is. I'm going to go back to Schoology, and I'm going to grab this picture of the rose and open it in Photopea. So the easiest way to do it is to grab it with your mouse, right? Bring it to the Photopea tab to the top until it opens, and then you're going to drop it in this space. Okay, so I'm going to go, and there it is, right? So now my rose picture is in Photopea, right? The second picture that I'm going to bring over, the worksheet, you're going to drop it in this space right here, this middle gray bar, okay? So you're going to open it right next to it. I'm going to go back to the Schoology. I'm going to scroll down, and here is the worksheet. Okay, so I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to grab it with my mouse, bring it to the top, don't let go until the Photopea opens, and you're going to drop it in this space right here. Right, so I'm going to let go, and here it is. Okay, if you open it anywhere in this space, it'll just combine the files, and we will need them to be two separate files. Right, so here they are. Right, so the first thing that we're going to do is make a square selection. Right, so we're going to make a feathering selection with the rectangle select. So I'm going to go over here to the toolbox, and I'm going to go over to the rectangle select, which is the second tool on the toolbox. Right, I'm going to click on it, and as soon as you click on it, the rectangle select symbol should also be right here in the top. Right, so this is our options bar right here underneath the menu bar. Right, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to activate the feathering. So we're going to go right here where it says feather, and you could either type in your number or use the scale that is provided right here at the right, okay? So you can type in your number 20, or you can just move this scale, right? So we're gonna bring it up to 20, okay? That's the number that we're gonna be using, okay? Once you type in your number or use the scale and increase it to 20, we're gonna make our selection. So we're just gonna make a square selection, okay? You have your rectangle tool selected, and your number 20 is in the feathering box, right? So once you have those done, you're going to make a square selection over the rows. Okay, so you're just going to click and hold with your mouse until a square comes out, right, in a square shape. Once you make that square shape, you're going to let go, right? And now we have a perforated line, okay? Now you can tell also the corners are not sharp, they're not pointy, right? So that means that the feathering is activated for this tool, right? You can also move your selection, right, anywhere you want to. If you made a selection too much to the right, you can move it to the left, right? All you have to do is make sure that your selection is always inside of your image. So if it's sticking out a little bit like this, it's gonna make a weird line, okay? So just try to stay away from the edges, right? Once you make your selection, all you're gonna do is go to edit, copy, and edit paste. You can also use the hotkeys on your keyboard and press Control-C for copy and Control-V for paste, right? So I'm just gonna go through the menus. I'm gonna click on edit. I'm gonna go to copy, right? And I'm going to paste it right here in my feathering worksheet. I'm gonna go to edit paste, right? Paste, and then I'm gonna go to the move tool, to this first tool at the top here. So I can move this image into my square, right? It doesn't have to fit perfectly in the square, right? As long as it's square shaped, your selection, right? You don't have to make it bigger or smaller either, as long as it fits in here. Okay, so we're gonna go over back to our rows, and we're gonna make our circular selection, right? That's the second option, this one. So I'm gonna go over to the rectangle select. I'm gonna click and hold until this box comes out, right? And I'm gonna switch my tool from the rectangle select to the ellipse select by clicking where it says right here, ellipse select. So once I click on it, it should change the symbol from the rectangle lines, right? The perforated line to the circular one, right? So up here as well. Okay, so we're just gonna do the same thing. We're gonna select our tool, and then we're gonna go into the feathering. right? We're gonna activate the feathering for every tool that we use. So I'm gonna go in here, I'm gonna type in number 20, right? And I'm gonna go into the rose picture right here. If you wanna deselect the line, just click outside of it, or you can also press the hotkeys, Control and D, right? Control and the letter D. Okay, so once we deselected it, we're going to make our new selection. So we're gonna click and hold until a circle comes out, right? It doesn't have to be perfect as long as it's circular. Let go, right? And you can move your selection any way you want, right? So now we have a circle around our rose. If you want to make another selection, just click outside of it and make your new selection, right? Make sure your selection is, try to stay away from the edges as much as possible. I think this is gonna be fine, right? So I'm gonna go to Edit Copy, same steps, go back to the worksheet, Edit Paste, right? I'm gonna go into the Move tool, and I'm gonna move this image into the circle, right? So if it kind of hides the line, that's also fine. Don't worry about it. As long as your selection is in the shape of the symbol, then you are fine. Okay. So we're gonna switch over to our next tool. Our next tool for this diamond shape is going to be the polygonal lasso tool. So it's gonna be this third tool right here. I'm gonna show you where it is. I'm gonna click and hold on this third tool that looks like a lasso until this box comes out. It's gonna be this second tool right here, polygonal lasso select. I'm gonna click on it and it should switch the symbol, right? So now we have a lasso with lines on it, right? Once we select our correct tool, right, the polygonal select, you're gonna go over to the feathering and you're gonna put in your number 20, okay? Once we have our correct tool and the feathering activated, we're going to deselect this line. I'm gonna press on my keyboard Control D, right? And it should make that line disappear. Okay, once you make that line disappear, you don't have to if you don't want to. You can just start making your diamond selection. So I'm gonna click right here in the middle top. I'm gonna make a selection, right? There it is, right? So I clicked right there in that spot that's still attached. I'm gonna click on the right middle, the bottom middle, the left middle, and back to the top middle, right? So once I click on the first selection I made, it should turn into a perforated line, right? So I'm gonna click and there it is, right? So you're just gonna connect back to the space that you connected, you clicked on the first time. And it should turn into this type of line, the perforated line, right? This is our selection line. Once you have that line, you're gonna go to Edit Copy, right? Or Control C. Go to your worksheet and Edit Paste or Control V, right? So we have our selection right here. I'm gonna go to the Move tool, right here to the top. And I'm gonna move this selection into the diamond, right? And there it is. So we have our first row done. So we still have our lasso select tool to go and our magnetic lasso select, okay? So we're gonna go back into the lasso, right? So we're gonna click where it says the polygonal tool. I'm gonna click and hold, and we're gonna switch back to that first tool, right? So I'm gonna click, and then you're gonna go back to the rose picture, right? So I'm gonna press Control D on my keyboard to make that line disappear. And you're just gonna make a freehand selection. So you can make whatever kind of selection you want. I'm just going to make a random selection. Try to stay away from the edges. So if you do get to the edge, just make your line all over, right? So I just clicked outside of it and just make your selection around your rose, right? And get back to the top to where you were before. It doesn't have to be perfect. It could be random. You could just go in a circle. It doesn't matter, but just stay away from the edges as much as you can. Okay, once you make your selection, you're just going to, it should look like this, right? The line should look like this. You're just going to edit and copy. Okay, so edit and copy and edit and paste, right? So edit, copy, go to the feathering worksheet, edit, paste, right? There is my selection. I didn't feather it. That's what happened. Okay, so I'm gonna go back